where we get to run a check on our environment, what we are doing day in, day out. Are you aware that every other facet of your life revolves around your environment? That is the key and main important thing for you as a human being. How healthy is the water you drink? How healthy, how pure, how clean is the air you breathe day in, day out? Have you taken note of the fact that the trees around you are just natural oxygen manufacturing factories that nature, God Himself provided for us for free? What are you doing to make sure you maintain the integrity of most things within the environment that nature provided for you, so that you can live and have a healthy environment to hand over to the next generation? In today's edition, we are going to be looking at the National Park Service of Nigeria. It's one core component or government arm that makes sure that biodiversity, our environment, stays and maintains its integrity so that it can provide its services in uncompromised way to you. And today we have the privilege of having the CG of the National Park Service in Nigeria. You need to be aware of this government organization so that you can partner with them and help them do better to make you live a better and a more healthier lifestyle. Can you introduce yourself briefly and your role as the Conservator General of the National Park Service?
My name is Ibrahim Musa Boni, the Conservator General of the National Park Service of Nigeria. My role as the Conservator General of the National Park Service of Nigeria is to oversee the unique national parks that are located in the various states, coordinate their activities on a daily basis, and give guidance to the conservators of park and the unit park.
Coming down to the parks, how many national parks do we have currently in the country, Nigeria? And what is unique about each of the parks?
Currently, we have 17 national parks in the country, 11 of which are operational. The 17 parks are Oba Hills in Osun State, Apoy and Edumenu in Bayelsa State, Pandam in Plateau State, Marahai in Nasarawa State, Kainji Lake National Park in Niger State, Alawa National Park in Niger State, Ogo National Park in Katsina State, Falgore National Park in Kano State, Adeja Wetlands National Park in Jigawa State, and Chad Basin National Park, which is between Borno and Yobe State, Gashaka Gumti National Park, which of course is the largest of the national parks we have. That is its uniqueness, located between Taraba and Adamawa State. Then Kamuku National Park in Benungwari, Kaduna State, Oroyo National Park in Oyo State, that's the southwest, Cross River National Park, which is one of the rainforest national parks we have in this country, and Okomu National Park, another rainforest national park, and of course the smallest of all the national parks we have in the country, located in Edo State. The plants and animals, the vegetation differs from the south off to the Sahel, because in the south you have the tropical rainforest. Moving towards Edo, you have the water swamp, saltwater swamp, mangrove. Then moving towards Osun and Oyo, you have the Guinea savanna. Moving towards Kainji, Kamuku, Marahai, Pandam, you have the Sudan savanna. Moving away to areas of Kano, Katsina, you have Sahel savanna. And for the animal composition, you realize that animals that exist or survive in dry, arid area, like the giraffe, savanna elephant, gazelle, you can commonly find them in areas of Chad Basin National Park, Adeja Wetlands National Park, Falgore National Park, and of course part of Ogo National Park. We have savanna buffaloes. This you can find in Kamuku National Park, Kainji Lake National Park, and of course Oroyo National Park. We also have forest elephants, called forest buffaloes, which you can find in Okomu National Park and Cross River National Park. So Gashaka Gumti National Park is a combination of all the vegetation types in this country except the mangrove. So you expect to find animals that can be found in the south, to be found in Gashaka. Animals that can be found in the north, to be found in Gashaka Gumti National Park.
Among these animals or plants, are there any of them that are in the red list?
Animals like the Ugandan cock, mostly you find in the savanna area. Then the roe, or antelope, the hartebeest, and of course some medium-sized antelopes like the bush buck and the gazelles, which you find in the arid area.
And you mentioned something like, is it
Ibadan Malinge,
something like that?
that's the bird.
Okay.
That is a bird that is indigenous to Nigeria. And when you are talking about birds that are only found in Nigeria, or animals that are found only in Nigeria, nowhere else in the world, Ibadan Malinge is one. You can only find it in that southwest.
So it's among the rare list.
Of course, it's a legend. When you say the red list, it depends on the category and you are
Okay,
Are you looking at the
maybe
threatened
I'm not
category?
pronouncing it well.
Are you looking at the rare category? Are you looking at the endangered category? Which one?
The rare category.
Well, if you say rare, R-E-R-A,
Yes.
R-E,
Yeah.
it means they are common, but rarely seen.
Oh. So what are the key roles of the national park in Nigeria?
The roles of the national park in Nigeria is one, the Ashaka Group National Park acts as a watershed for Benue River. Kainji Lake National Park is a watershed for Niger River.
So when you say watershed, people that may not understand what that means, can you explain it a bit?
It's like a buffer giving protection to that river. Meaning before you get to that river, you must be able to break through the vegetation of that park before you get to the river. So that park acts as a buffer. It's just like your cloth. You are wearing a cloth. Before somebody touches your skin, he touches the cloth. The cloth is a buffer to your skin. So that is why these parks act as buffers to the two big important rivers in Nigeria, rivers Niger and the rivers Benue. Apart from that, they also the gem banks of natural resources, because most of the plants are endemic there, and from the endemism you realize that the plant provides a lot of uses for the communities surrounding the parks, and they continue to propagate. That's why you say they are gem banks of the natural resources. So they continue to propagate. With time you realize that the clusters of plants in so many places, because the park is carefully managed in such a way that human activities are limited to the areas. With this management, the vegetation provides a very suitable habitat for the animals to exist. The parks also are research houses. Students, research officers, research fellows from all over the world visit most of these parks for research purposes. And based on these researches, a plant in Cross River, Anthocykladus rhopensis, is currently as a plant that has potency for the treatment of dreaded HIV. I'm sure by the time the study is completed, Nigeria will come out and tell the world that as far as HIV AIDS is concerned, there is a plant that has remedy for that.
That would be a very huge contribution there from the national park.
Of course.
There's been some reports too of kind of illegal activities like poaching. What steps?
You cannot rule out crime in a society.
Yeah, so are there steps you're
So
taking
as many as the police crime still exists, you expect that the environment sector to have its own share, because these resources are resources that most the public depend on. So you expect those that will legally acquire them and those that will illegally acquire them. People that will illegally acquire them are people you call poachers, because you are harvesting this thing without any permission. Even mining of recent is another issue that national parks are contending with. When I say contending, it means we are trying our very best to make sure that we minimize. If you say you can stop completely, any conservator that tells you that will not be telling you the truth. You try as much as possible to minimize the activity so that at least the number of resources will outnumber the depletion.
So for those kind of things, how do you collaborate with other security organizations in the country to help out?
Most of the national parks are located in the rural area, some right at the border. It means in this case you have to collaborate with the customs and immigration at the border. That is why you hear the custom day in and day out impounding pangolin scales, lions, parrots, and of course live animals that are either being brought in or taken out. If you don't have that collaboration, you will not be able to mitigate. So when they impound, particularly the cost, if it is a live specimen, they send it to the national parks. We collect and rehabilitate, and in some cases, we release them to individuals that are interested in keeping it as either pets or some other types of uses. But in most cases, we make sure that we release them back to the wild. If, for example, grain parrots are forest animals. After the habitation, we take them back
to the forest.
To the forest. Places like Cross River and
Because now that you've mentioned this, we've had cases recently of NESRA collaborating with National Park to get especially young people that have these parrots of different colors. And some persons are like, is it not part of tourism? Is it really a crime to get those parrots and send them or sell them or market?
For acquisition of these animals, I said there are people who acquire them legally and there are those that will acquire them illegally. If you want to acquire any animal under the CITES rule, it is the Minister of Environment that can approve for you. Once you have the Minister's approval,
okay, they need to go to the Ministry of Environment to get the approval before they can.
Yes, where you don't have the approval, that is why we raid areas, even in Abuja here. NESRA and National Park were embarked on this 2 months ago.
Yes,
we raided areas of the airport where we confiscated live antelopes, red flag antelopes, and even some bush buck. We confiscated them. Then we also raided and impounded carcasses of animals that were already dressed for consumption. But the issue is what you are buying, you may not know how it came about, what the process of even preparing it. So the public is always advised to be cautious. Don't just see this as bush meat ready for consumption. You say, it's ready meat. You may buy poison for yourself because you don't know how was the animal killed, how was it acquired.
But what are the charges for any form of illegal activity in the park?
If you are using the National Parks Act, we also have our charges for the fines. And for us in the national park, you see, our activities entails that we operate within the park. Any area outside the park, there has to be interagency collaboration. We bring in NESRA. We now also bring in the main ministry, the modern ministry, that is the Department of Forestry.
So how we positioning national park in Nigeria for global ecotourism?
Countries like South Africa, Tanzania, and Kenya. The ecological tourism is private sector driven, and this is what we are trying to do by reaching out to signing collaboration MOUs with non-governmental organizations like African Nature Investors that are currently working in Gashaka-Gumti National Park and Okolo National Park. And in fact, they are opening up new grounds. I'm sure by the next viewing session, that is going to be around the October, November, December, January, March. I'm hopeful that Gashaka-Gumti National Park is going to record
ongoing discussion around the umpires of our environment, people that are making sure through their daily and official work day in, day out, that we have a sustainable and livable environment, especially in this era that biodiversity is highly threatened by the globalists and several interests. But now there are different structures of government that make sure that that doesn't really happen, and that is the national park. I have one of the conservators of park here with us today to learn his voice on what is happening in his own park. Sir, your name?
My name is Gianari Amos Haman. I'm the conservator of Gashaka-Gumti National Park. Gashaka-Gumti National Park is the largest in Nigeria and also West Africa. Over 1,000 species of trees have been enumerated in Gashaka-Gumti. Over 200 species of mammals, 500 species of birds, and over 27 species of reptiles have been recorded in Gashaka-Gumti National Park. And Gashaka-Gumti National Park, because of the unique landscape there, it has the highest altitude in Nigeria, over Chapal Wadi, which is over 2,400 meters above sea level.
talking about National Park Service and the critical role they play in our survival as a nation, as a country. Like I've mentioned in a few of our interviews on this segment, that biodiversity becomes a very critical selling point in the global scale. How resilient an environment is, it depends on how the biodiversity component of that environment is, especially when it has to do with the trees, when it has to do with the rivers, all the environmental infrastructure and the services they provide. So in our own Nigerian context, we know that we are so endowed in terms of our biodiversity component. So National Park is the umpire government body that makes sure that the integrity of our environment is protected. How sustainable your system is what sells in the global market. So that's why we're taking so much time to build on what National Park is doing. And they've taken a bold step to inaugurate a board that helps to monitor, supervise, and support what they are doing. Today's edition of this program, we have the opportunity to relate with the chairman of the board of the National Park Service, Nigeria. It's nice to have you, sir.
My pleasure. My name is Dr. Kingsley Ononuwu, graduate of Finance and Banking, his degree, and then a master's degree and MBA in management.
I think what really interests me most is your management background and then the banking background. We know that the park has the opportunity to employ a whole lot and drive so much into our economy, right? So that we can break this mono-economy system we keep running as a nation, just eat on oil. So with this wealth of experience and exposure and background, what are you going to be bringing on board?
Well, I'm just going to cue into the President's Renew Hope agenda, which is deliberate in trying to carry all the sectors along.
Yeah, so how does that speak to...
I'm coming now. So if you bring it to the national park, it should contribute both in terms of employment and revenue. In Kenya, just like we have oil here, 90% of revenue coming from oil, 80% or more of the revenue in Kenya comes from tourism. Our first point would be, which we are planning to do in 1 week or so, review what is on the ground. Where are you coming from? What are the things you can do immediately? There are things you can do immediately that doesn't even involve big money. I will explain that. Then what are the things you can do in the intermediate? And what are the things you can do in the long run? In the first place, first 1 month, first 1 week that has happened, create awareness. You stay in Abuja and you have a mini park. It's not recognized as a national park. And people don't know that there is something that exists there that's like what our people go to Kenya to see. Many people don't even know what the parks are about. And also, the first day I came there, I'm like, I didn't know the place, even me that I've been traveling abroad. And like, I give it to the current Conservator General, because the first day I came, I said, there's even no signboard to this place. The driver carrying me was saying, where is the place? But by the time I come again, you can see a bold sign there that you can't pass there without knowing. So publicity, like what you are trying to do. In my past 3 weeks, we've been leisure column in this day. We've already made an impact. I can tell you, I'm a performance-driven person. Because people are now aware. There's no day in the past 3 weeks that the park is not being written about based on what we're doing. So let people know. And if people know, it becomes part of our system. You find out that, like you're talking about stress. Most people who are stressed are used to, you close from work by 6 a.m., you go and look for where to drink beer, increasing the stress. We have to be deliberate in opening up and enlightening our people that coming on a Saturday with your children or you alone is a big deal. And I bet you, if you popularize the mini park, that's not even a main park in Abuja here, I will put on record to show the revenue that will come in. You know why? Because the major problem I have read and found out with the bigger parks is the issue of security. But one of the safest places in Nigeria today is Abuja. And most people who have gotten to the level where they go abroad on holidays with their families, who can afford it in terms of affordability, many of them live in Abuja. The international tourism people, tourists and all that, relatively, will prefer to come and see live animals in Abuja than Ganji Dam for now because of security issues. So can we create awareness, have a media team to showcase that this thing is even here. Then you can do it in the immediate. Now, it won't cost you 1 billion. Create deliberate attempt at creating awareness and encouraging our people. That can do immediately. In the long run, as they plan and the budgets, you can get into the major issues in the other places. Security. Liars work with the military, and graciously the president has just approved the recruitment of forest gas. And those things will help to give confidence that you are going to be secure. Nobody wants to go with his family. And then you use technology to drive it.
It's obvious you're ready from day one.
Absolutely.
I noticed something too, because when I interview most of the park heads, they said that they have a mini park over there. I was amazed. I saw,
When you entered there?
Yeah, I saw some live, is it monkeys? Crowd. I'm like, I've never been, and I've been there. a
That
couple
is
of
what
times.
you go to look at in Kenya. I was dazed myself. The first day I resumed and they took me in there with exactly what you have abroad. Chairs, cemented, this and that. When you are tired,
You can rest. So I bet most of expatriates in most of the embassies and their colleagues or their families will really want to visit that if it's properly.
Surprisingly, some even do. You guys showed me animals that were domesticated by some foreigners and embassies. They even do. So beyond the science, is talking it to the people through what you are doing, through the media, creating an awareness.
Let's talk categorically. What are your 3 key priority areas within the next 12 months where you want to put your energy in? And
I want, to a large extent, for them to be recognized as a revenue-driving body. There are revenue in terms of tourism. Create that awareness. Go through there when they make their report. Find out what we need to do more to make it more attractive for people to come and watch the you follow it up with them so that it becomes a revenue area. That's one. 2, there are about 9 national parks and some other ones on the line. There are some smaller parks from my readings now that have not been taken and recognized. About 2 in Lagos. There are some in the east and other places. To look at those, the class base of those who can patronize this. If you have something in Abuja, have something in Lagos, have something in Kano, have something in Kaduna, those major things, and rebrand them.
okay, so that's what you're going to be doing,
Sure,
right?
sure.
Okay, because we're talking about your priority area.
The next priority area comes from my background. Where are the international funders? We must be able to get the international donors because it's going to cost a lot of money. And if you're going to depend on what you just generate and what government will give you from budget, you may not have enough to carry out the kind of things you want to carry out. So we must focus on donor funding.
Yeah, I'm happy you have that rich network within the financial sector. So the national park is quite hopeful that that will play out within your tenure.
We will give it our all.
So with this understanding, what should Nigerians be expecting about the national parks in the next 5 months, 6 months?
There was an interview that came out yesterday. Two major things. Maybe that should have been, maybe I'll refer you to that. One, people have to understand that by creating leisure as a habit increases life expectancy. So if we guarantee Nigerians, for instance, the security is not an issue in the Abuja zone. So if we create the awareness, they now patronize it. People will be looking forward to going to those kind of places. And as we preach, come back home, you might see maybe Nigerians that live abroad, part of their coming home now will be to look at it. And those who go every year, now that to raise money is an issue, both to individuals and institutions, some, rather than go nowhere, can come from Zamfara.
You may have the same, this what is in Sokoto inside.
Yeah, exactly. You can come from Zamfara on a weekend with your children that are on holidays and feel safe to come to the Abuja Mini Park and see nature and see life animals.
So, talking about local community, how are you going to, the thin line between conservation and protection?
Yes.
How are you going to deal with that? Because They know the wild, they know those environment, the buffer zone and all that. So when you say don't harvest, don't do this, and there's no alternative, or you're not integrating them to just be an
You just,
effort
in terms of policy framework on the thinking now, a major part of park administration everywhere in the world now is integration of the local communities, either in revenue sharing, when eventually it's functional, or some trainings and assistance, but is a component that you must bring to bear in the policy direction. You can ignore them.
Okay, so that's how much you can take in this segment with Dr. Chris, the board chairman of the National Park Service Nigeria. I know there's a whole lot we didn't delve into because it's just the first segment we're having with him, the issues around security and the issues around sustainability and different other things to be coming and it will be unfolding as the day goes by. So just make sure you stay on with me in this program. You'll get all the information that you need to have.